Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to my latest talk on giving and receiving. I am announcing this one a little earlier than the last 2 days. I am sorry. Um, it is the end of the day for me, and it's been a long day. A good day, but long. And I wanted to get this out as soon as possible so I can go off into the dreamland and get ready for the next day. So I hope you found these latest talks very interesting, very clear, um, and also the latest forecasts for this year, which spun off these talks and these messages from Spirit. Please, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it because these talks will make even more sense and will help you guide you in co-creating this new year to come. So, the last two talks, we got into a lot of selflessness and watching out for selfishness, checking our motives, trusting, having faith, and really building up on the art of giving and receiving. So, tonight, based off of all of them, because we did touch on martyrism in those talks, I'm gonna make this all about being a martyr and what being a martyr means, especially when you're in a relationship where you're giving and receiving, but most of all with yourself, what it all boils down to. So the traditional view on martyrism or martyrdom is one of sacrifice, one where someone is persecuted. A lot of people have this, and so do in a weird sense of way because I guess it's a very archaic and old word. Um, the dictionaries like Oxford and I think the Merriam-Webster dictionary had the best definition that I know of spiritually speaking. But some of the other ones, like the Oxford one dictionary, says that a martyr is someone who is executed for their personal religious beliefs, religious and spiritual beliefs, which I think is really funny. Because I think a lot of that comes from a Christian sense of looking at the word of martyr and martyrism. Of course, Jesus was persecuted. Jesus Christ was persecuted for being the Christ, the anointed one. That's what Christ means, for those of you who don't not know. And Jesus, or Jeshua, uh, he was put up on that cross because the Romans and everyone else was really jealous of him, and he claimed to be the Son of God and have all these powers of healing, which were really mere mortal powers that everyone else has, right? So, Jesus, being the great and powerful Son of the Creator, went along with all of it, and he wasn't going to be less of a man and play into this prisoner or this person who's being persecuted mentality to the Romans and the Christians. The Romans and the Jewish people. So, long story short, he made the greatest sacrifice really known today, besides others in, spiritual, religious history. But I'm focusing on Jesus because he's the biggest martyr that, everyone really knows. He died at this cross. It was very violent, right? So, and well renowned all over the world. Um, and he had like nails like shoved into his hands and his feet onto the cross. He knew the type of execution he was going to face, but he so much did it because he believed in what he believed. And his beliefs and his way of being was just merely him. And he wanted to show the people it was okay to be you, right? And he was going to die for his teachings. He was going to die for, all the glorious deeds that he did during his lifetime. Because to do otherwise, would have not, would have gone against, really, it would have been a lie. So, and I'm not speaking for Jesus. If you read the story of Jesus Christ and everything he went through, it's clearly indicated. You could clearly see that the man knew that he had a choice. He could have stopped and just obeyed, and just played subservient, but he didn't. He went ahead and he spoke for himself and he spoke for his teachings, and he died for just that. And later on, texts and Christian followers and other people who admire Jesus all say that he died for our sins, and that's a whole different conversation, and that interpretation. But when we look at that type of martyrism, the martyr, Jesus, or that type of martyr, has forged a crusade, has made a career, so to speak, a life for themselves in serving people and being a teacher, being a spiritual guide, and making, sacrifices in order to promote their cause, their spiritual cause. So, these people have, these type of martyrs, true martyrs, they know what they're doing. They have a mission and they're driven in life. It's evidently, truth in the way that they live. So they're giving of themselves to the point where, they know that it takes a lot of sacrifice. And they have no objectivity. They have no control. They really have no expectations but to serve and teach, and help, humanity, the rest of the world, become a better place around them. And they're not doing it for notoriety, and they're not doing it for the act of, making themselves feel better. They're doing it because they know that, it's their purpose in life, and good will come out of it. So you can say that maybe there is some type of expectation there, but really, they're not aware of it because they're selfless. When Jesus died on the cross, that was a very selfless act. He could have said, oh shit, excuse my French. He could have said, well, these dumb people are not speaking up for me, and, then they clearly are not saying my truth, and, they'll nail me to the cross. Maybe I should get out of this situation and not let myself be a martyr here and lose my life at the risk of people not getting my message, or whatever the case may be. That would have been selfish of him, right? Or put him in the place of having his head in the future, like we spoke about yesterday, and controlling the situation and making it work to his benefit. That type of martyrism, it's very selfless. It's a very selfless act where they really don't think about themselves. And it's not like they train themselves to be like that. It just naturally comes out, right? So a true martyr, let's say, and I know I've seen this a lot, especially like maybe Mother Teresa. She wasn't persecuted, but she died helping the world, right? She died doing what she believed was her mission in life, to end suffering among homeless people, among the needy, the starving people, the poor people, carrying on, sacred type of ways of compassion and giving that Jesus had upheld during his time, right? So she herself became a martyr as well, where she made the ultimate sacrifice of, being, Teresa of the fashion industry, or Teresa of the, Greenpeace, or whatever it may be, getting a lot of notoriety for, maybe even being Teresa, CEO of Apple, for making an innovative strides in the world. And I'm just throwing that out there as scenarios. But, these type of martyrs, they give of themselves with nothing, expecting nothing in return. Seeking balance in the world, seeking perhaps, some type of recognition in their spirit, that fulfillment that, God or their creator is happy that, they're doing this, right? Whatever the case may be, a martyr in the situation of giving and receiving, a true martyr acts from a place where they're not controlling the situation, as we spoke about yesterday, right? A martyr will, will also dedicate and know willingly that they're going to dedicate themselves to not want anything in return. and or accepting anything back in return, right? These people really never expected anything back in return. So you never seen, Mother Teresa really owning mansions. You never seen Mother Teresa really getting back any type of, riches. Like, she really denied a lot of them. So we have real martyrs who really fall into, ideal definitions that some of the dictionaries have. And Mother Teresa was a sacrifice, so she doesn't fall under, the Oxford Dictionary of Martyrism, as Jesus did. But in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, you have 3 points, and I encourage you all to go on Google and go to Merriam-Webster dictionary and find those definitions, and meditate on them. And you have, martyrs, the definition of martyrs, where the true martyr is going out there, acting on behalf of someone else, some place, something. They have a drive to help and sacrifice their own time and life in order to make, whatever situation, whatever, place, or person, place, or thing better. So they naturally have, like, a selflessness, sacrificial part and aspect to their life. And then you have the other martyr that you have to watch out for. And these types of martyrs really exist in all of us, these profiles of martyrism. So when giving and receiving, you want to watch out for the type of martyrism which I spoke about in the reading for the next, for the first part of this year, where it's all about acting on sacrificing something or some part of you in your life for a cause that you have that you're controlling. And you may not know that you're controlling, right? Like yesterday I spoke about a type of control where you lose yourself in helping others because you're really running away from yourself and your own truth, and from working on yourself, and from being really you and living your life and your true purpose. So there has to be a type of balance when it comes to, if you're going to plan to be a martyr, or let's say when you're going to give and acknowledge the fact that you're probably going to step into a place of martyrism. And if you do step into that place of martyrism, another pitfall you have to watch out for, are you stepping into this place of martyrism because you're thinking in the back of your mind, I'll get special notoriety for this, or, I could put this on my resume, or, it'll look good in my social group, or, I'll get some really prestigious status in my family. Those things really exist. So, when you're making decisions to being a martyr like that, what you're doing is that you're really acting in a place of not selflessness. You're acting in a place of ego, which is, acronym for easing out God or the spirit. You're acting selfishly. You're not really contributing to anything. You're not being creative either. If you remember my reading for this year about giving and receiving, hold on a second. Letting that siren pass by. The reading was the Six of Coins, but also followed with a card indicator from the Archangel Gabriel deck on creativity. We have to be creative in the way that we give and receive, right? So when you're being a martyr and you're controlling the type of martyr that you want to be, what you're doing is you're not being creative. You're acting from a low place of low self-esteem and low spirit, a low vibrational spirit, and you're not giving anything really. You're not really helping the other person. What you're giving is, a cry for help. I'm helping you because I really need the help. So you really don't want to engage in that type of martyrism. Especially if you're going to step into a situation where you're going to become a martyr in that situation. And you have to be realistic with yourself. Do I really want to sacrifice all of this time for this one project that's not really in my best interest? Or if it is, do they really need that help? And am I acting out of a place of selflessness? Another really weird type of martyrism that we can do as humans is that we can step into a role, a job, where people force us to become martyrs. And we get, and they keep taking, and you keep giving because you're a giving person. And then you get into the psychosis where you're thinking, oh, this is part of my job in life. Be careful of that, especially this year. Because you have to be true to yourself and true to the act of spirit. Because when you're giving in that form of type of martyrism where you're sacrificing yourself without even knowing it for the wrong reasons, and you're not getting back anything in return, meaning, to supplicate your life, to your nourishment, your spiritual nourishment, your mindset, it's not healthy. You will be unbalanced. You'll be giving all the giving, and people will be taking all of your fire and good energy, and you will have nothing for yourself. You will be taken out of your element, out of your life, and I see this happen so many times, and it's happened to me as well. You'll be burnt out. Your health will suffer. Your physical, mental, and spiritual health will suffer, and it'll backfire, and it'll come back like snowball effect. And then you will not be a help to anyone. you'll actually be sacrificing yourself. And you don't need to sacrifice yourself, especially if you're a Catholic, because Jesus already did that for you. He died for all of our sins, right? So when you're giving and receiving, then you're receiving in that aspect when you're doing that false sense of martyrism. You're you're receiving like crap, really. You're not receiving the real stuff. Especially when you're doing the other type of receiving, the other type of martyrism where, like, I'm helping the cause because I need the help. Yeah, get off the cross because we need the wood. Mary Sue. So, things to think about. I hope I made myself clear. If you have any questions, I am leaving this opportunity for you now in the comment section to ask me questions on martyrism or anything I just spoke about. When you're acting out of the will of God or the Spirit or out of your good intentions, let's say, it's not enough just to act on good intentions. You have to also, free yourself of the fear, like I talked in the past about, and really follow your gut instincts and your heart and just do it. Just give, okay? And trust your feelings when you know that you can do something, or you can't help anyone and you can't give, because that means it's your time to receive. Oh my God. It's time for somebody else to be the martyr. So that's a healthy balance also. You have to look out for the balance also when we're giving and receiving. It'll be your time to receive, and you have to learn how to receive. Sometimes when, and I have a friend I think this has happened to recently, who was in an accident because I believe she's always giving, and she doesn't stop. And she got into an accident, and she has this downtime now, and she's on her back. So everyone's like catering to her every need. And the universe kind of said to her, chill out. Let us take care of you. We've been taking care of you for a long time, but you did not listen. And you did not listen or trust your feelings or what we were telling you. So divine guidance is very necessary as well. And people like Jesus and Mother Teresa and many other spiritual people around the world, rely, as well as myself, who dedicated their lives to spirituality and helping other people. When we live and centered in spirit, and we act on faith and with love, and we're in the moment, we truly hear what the Creator, what Spirit wants us to do for ourselves and others. We are the vessels. We are, all of us, we are angels. We are, we are capable also of service and helping others in active spirit. And we're all capable of hearing divine guidance. So, when we're selfless, we're in the moment and we're not thinking really about ourselves, and we're just being, and we're in that river of love that I spoke about a couple of days ago. We hear God, we hear our higher self. We're in tune. There's no second guessing. There's trust. There's no need for control, because we know that everything's already taken care of. And the more that we practice this, the more that we'll be good and really in touch on how to do this, how to give and receive properly and healthily with that balance, because we have it in here already. So if you have no questions right now, I'm going to say good night. Thank you for listening. I'm leaving it open for the next minute, the chat room. If you have that question, pop it in, and I'll answer it. Some of you have come in late, so the topic is being a martyr and the goods and bads about it. um, and also having balance, healthy balance, knowing that healthy balance in giving. Do everyone have a good day today? You're all so quiet. Well, I guess that's going to be good night. All right, so that's a good night for me. You guys have a great night. And who knows what tomorrow's topic is going to be, but I'll keep that as a surprise. All right, guys, have a good night. Take care. Peace and blessings, and in the language of my people, taino ti. Namaste.